Welcome to this week's OK at Work with myself, Sarah Sawyer, my colleague Russell Berger, attorneys at Offit Kurman. And today we are talking about emojis and Gifs and the workplace. So, a lot of folks use Teams chat or different types of Slack. I think is another one that's really common in the workplace, or text each other, and that's just become a very common way for employees to communicate with each other, bosses to communicate with their employees. Very prevalent in the workplace now, and with all of that comes a very easy ability to insert emojis and little GIFs and funny images to communicate. And often those are effective ways of communicating. It's definitely a way that the younger generations communicate and have learned to communicate that way because it's been very prevalent as they've grown up. But there can definitely be some concerns with how things like that can be interpreted, like a winky face, or lots of emojis have hearts, or there can be different things. What are some things that employers should be thinking about when people are using emojis and GIFs to communicate in the workplace, Russell?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. We've talked on here before about the fact that harassment, discrimination can occur, online, digitally, and from an employer's perspective, you got to be conscious of it because there's a record that doesn't go away. There's a digital footprint of that, so you definitely have to be aware and conscious of this is another place where that sort of conduct can happen and can expose you to legal risk. But also just from a management standpoint, and managing your employees, it's just another way that you're now communicating with employees. And so you want to make sure you're sending the right message, whether it's becomes a actionable violation of the law or not. If your message is getting diluted, is not being clearly expressed, is getting clouded in a joke, as opposed to being direct and management oriented, then it's a disservice to the business as well. So I would say I think my most commonly used emoji is the thumbs up, which I think is pretty benign by all these standards. Okay, let's go with that, or thank you. That's kind of the way I've used it. But I mean, like you said, like there's there's no shortage of emojis or GIFs or memes or content out there that any chat service makes easily available. You don't even have to go look for it; it's just another button on the chat. Um, so you just have to, when you personally use it, you have to be conscious of it. And when, and it's just another thing to manage employees on when you do harassment training.
Yeah, and there's definitely been cases on involving these types of things as evidence, and people finding different meaning in what people are sending. So it's definitely something that we're going to see more and more of from an evidentiary standpoint whenever there is an issue. And then something to consider, GIFs are very, like, they involve all different types of people, from politics to movie stars to cartoon characters. And so the context around that as well, it's a little bit more like a joke you might have up on your wall, in the old traditional sense, that some people might find offensive. And so something to think about. Also, we talked about it a lot on here, just kind of the state of the world right now, and kind of the public discourse, and some different sensitive issues that have come up as of late over the last couple of years. And so people might be reading things into your GIF based on that as well. I sent one that had the same character in it over and over again accidentally, and people are like, oh, you must really like that show. I'm like, I don't even like that show. It just was so applicable. And then so they automatically made this, and it wasn't a bad show, and in this case it wasn't an issue, but I wasn't meaning to tell people I really liked this show. It just it just was applicable. It was just pretty common. So
Well, and like we always talk about, like I always say, the impact is greater than the intent. And especially when you use things that are not clear, concise words. Even when you use clear, concise words, it's open to interpretation, and can leave wiggle room. But when you use images and things that aren't coming directly out of your own mouth, there's even more room for that. So you let someone know that you like a show, and that's false. But I mean, you just imagine all the different interpretations from, things that are just sitting there on everyone's phone that are supposed to be funny. But the work context could be taken in any number of different directions. It's just something to be cognizant of.
Yeah, definitely need to be thoughtful in communications for a lot of reasons, but here's another reason why. So, well, thank you, Russell, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Sarah.